Welcome, Assuaged family. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be discussing disparities amongst vegan food. So first we're going to start with student credits. Thank you all for your contributions, featuring student speakers, Dean Bravo, Kimberly Monahan, Lena, and of course Cynthia. Slides made by Kimberly Monahan.
So before we get started, we'd love to share our rap song introduction video, and we hope you enjoy.
Yeah, okay, organic base, this is what you need. Take you to the future, live a life that can be disease-free. All these toxins are taxing on our bodies, no doubt. All these GMOs and these processed foods we can live without. Yeah, wanna see you live a long time. Contaminants in our water and our food supply. From the meat to the dairy and the fish, what a shame. Not realizing that my insides were inflamed. Hold up, I know it's hard to digest, that's right. I found an organic plant-based website. I even got the app, yo, this is where it's at. Promoting a healthy life, it's time to put it on the map. Assuaged, trust you don't wanna miss. It's time for you to be your best, be your healthiest. Assuaged, trust you don't wanna miss. It's time for you to be your best, be your healthiest. Hey, Assuaged, let's go.
So what is a vegan diet and why does it matter? So a vegan diet is entirely plant-based, as many of you know. So animal products are replaced with equally nutritious plant-based alternatives or dietary supplements. Many individuals choose to go on a vegan diet for ethical reasons. Eating plant-based offers an array of health benefits that are favorable to individuals and the overall environment. A plant-based diet is rich in nutrients that promotes bodily functions and lowers the risk of disease and certain cancers. So the issue with vegan food prices. So plant-based meat marketers' alternative processed plant-based specialty substitutions are priced higher than their meat or traditional counterparts. Key plant-based ingredients are also not widely available to all consumers. This is an issue because unavailability and higher priced food options drive potential customers away. Research finds that consumers are more likely to use plant-based substitutions if they are priced similarly to their traditional alternatives. Therefore, the high cost and unavailability of plant-based ingredients promote unhealthy eating behaviors. The importance of eating vegan. So the use of pesticides, preservatives, chemical fertilizers, and the process of modifying food products at a molecular level are unhealthy, and they increase one's risk of developing preventable chronic diseases. Furthermore, foods with high levels of pesticides can cause damage to the brain and nervous system, and may also cause cancer and reproductive issues. Due to the ongoing health effects of modified foods, it is imperative that communities find plant-based foods that are financially accessible to all. The importance of lowering vegan food prices continuing. So, as outlined by the Goals of Healthy People 2030, the health of communities is essential to a thriving and equitable society. The effects of healthier communities can be quantified by lower healthcare costs and a higher quality of life. Food is our daily medicine. Nutrients from the foods we eat make up our foundation, function, and wholeness of each cell in our body. From our skin, to our hair and our muscles, to our bones, digestive, and immune system. Every day, our body actually produces new cells to replace those that have expired. The efficiency of our cell is directly related to our current diet. So again, it's vital that all people have access to vegan food alternatives or plant-based meat or dairy options. In order to ensure the future health and well-being of generations to come, individuals must have access to foods that will truly fuel their bodies.
So why are vegan food products prices are higher? So first, the desire for plant-based meat companies to maximize their profits to stay competitive in the free market is a major factor contributing to higher prices. These companies are able to change higher prices because of the extreme demand that they are currently not able to reach. Thus, lowering the cost of these products would directly lower their revenue and negatively impact their ability to expand. Plant-based meat companies are unable to optimize their supply lines, meaning these companies are not yet actually able to have a stable size to compare with the animal agriculture sector, who controls the bulk of the raw material supply lines. Plant-based meat companies are often not even able to access certain inputs that are indispensable for plant-based meat production. So, continuing on this topic, currently the plant-based companies only have access to raw materials that are minor side streams of the animal agricultural industry. This means that the inputs that they are working with are not only optimized to meet their needs and uses. So for example, the protein from peas and soybeans are only byproducts in the production of oils and animal feed. But these legumes are the most important factors for making sought-after plant-based meat products. To ensure cheaper products for consumers, manufacturers of plant-based meats need to have agency over the production and supply of their essential raw materials. So let's compare. So let's go ahead and compare plant-based meat and traditional meat products. So for example, on the plant-based meat products, the Impossible burger patties made from plants, it's a 2-count. It's priced at $5.49, aka $10.98 per pound. Whereas you have the traditional meat of Nature's Promise free from turkey burgers, you have 94% lean, 6% fat, and a 4-count fresh, priced at $4.49 or $4.49 per pound. Beyond Meat, the Beyond Burger plant-based patties are 2-count. They're priced at $5.99, aka $11.98 per pound. Whereas you have the Stop and Shop ground beef patties at 85% lean, 15% fat value pack of an 8-count, priced at $13.47, compared to about $4.49 per pound. The Garden, the Ultimate Beefless Burger, you have a 4-count frozen for a plant-based meat product at $4.99 or $6.65 per pound. Or you have the Bubba Burger Choice Beef Chunk Burgers, or the original 6-count frozen is priced at $12.99, aka $6.50 per pound. And all of these prices are found on Stop and Shop. So continuing to compare the vegan alternatives for a plant-based food item, just like feta, it's a block with coconut oil and vitamin B12 that is vegan. It's priced at $5.49 or $12.48 per pound. Whereas you have the Treasure Cave feta cheese crumbled, it's priced at $3.29 or aka $8.66 per pound. For a plant-based food item, Dr. McDougall's vegan noodle soup, pad thai, 1-count, is priced at $2.29 or aka $1.15 per ounce. You have the Campbell's condensed tomato soup, a traditional food option, 4-count, priced at $4.99, aka 12 cents per ounce. Earth Balance Puffs aged white cheddar vegan, a plant-based food item, priced at $3.79 or 95 cents per ounce. And then you have the Cheetos cheese flavored snack puffs, a party size, priced at $3.99 or 30 cents per ounce. Again, these are found on Stop and Shop. You have to continue the plant-based food item of the Grain Crispy Chicken, the Grain Crispy Tenders, the vegan dairy-free kosher. It's priced at $4.99 or aka $8.91 per pound. Whereas the traditional food item of crispy chicken strips, all natural, fully cooked, that are frozen, are priced at $8.99 or $5.76 per pound. You have the Chosen Foods Vegan Mayo Classic, priced at $8.39 or 70 cents per ounce. And then you have the Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise, priced at $3.99 or 29 cents per ounce. There's also an Ancient Grain bread gluten-free that is vegan, priced at $6.29 or 42 cents per ounce. And then you have the Wonder 100% whole wheat bread that is soft, priced at $2.99 or 19 cents per ounce.
I'd just like to point out, as you could see when looking at the price per pound, the plant-based options are all more expensive. And like the mayonnaise, for example, it's the vegan option, 70 cents per ounce versus 29 cents per ounce is a big difference. It really is. So
For real.
something to think about.
It's a huge difference.
Right?
Huge.
It's
Yes.
not fair.
Time? Yeah, it's not. No. Time for discussion. Time to change up. We will now be starting a discussion based off of today's topic, some challenge questions too. We encourage you to participate in this discussion by sharing your thoughts and ideas. We will be reading viewers' comments, and our team of students will be discussing these responses as well as adding our thoughts. Question number 1. At Assuaged, we always say, be your healthiest and live longer. Will plant-based vegan alternatives eventually be cheaper or similarly priced to traditional forms of food? Yes, as we see larger food companies like Tyson, JBS, and Nestle establish themselves in the plant-based meat field, it is likely we'll soon see more of a focus on large-scale production and less of a focus on new technologies. This, along with greater competition in the space, will also significantly drive prices down.
I love that. That we have the proof in the pudding that we're working towards these new avenues. However, one thing that kind of concerns me is the organic nature of these foods too. A lot of these foods, and they're still that much more expensive than your meat counterparts, your dairy counterparts. And they're not even organic. So when you put an organic label on top of all of that, you're paying even more on these foods. And so it's not sustainable. It really turns people off in ways that goes beyond just what they can afford. They're trying to budget their lifestyles. They have kids to feed. They have bills. So sometimes factoring in that health, you're going to have that mind scarcity mindset in terms of not making the health investments because of the prices. So I definitely think that should change too.
Yeah, it causes more divide between the classes in the U.S. We also, we know about the economic problems with healthcare, and now we have to throw food in the mix that only people with really good jobs and higher degrees can afford to eat vegan and eat healthy organic foods. And everyone else is stuck going to what's left in the supermarket that's not organic and not vegan. So it's not good.
Yeah, like the whole foods is so important. Like, fruits and the vegetables and just, I mean, plant. If it's a plant, it's natural. That's what I always say.
These people are deprived of that. It's terrible. Eating too much meat, not enough veggies, not getting enough nutrients. It's not good. It's not good for growing children or adults. So.
Yeah. And it is really expensive to manufacture food. Like, I understand from a supplier standpoint, manufacturer standpoint, but from a sustainable future, perspective, that needs to change. What do you think, Kimberly?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you guys both said, and just to add on to like the how organic foods are more expensive, I just think that's another really, it's unfair because if someone's on a budget, are you going to buy the organic strawberries or just the normal strawberries? But some people don't even realize with the regular strawberries, you're getting preservatives, GMOs, all these things that are detrimental to people's health. And it makes me wonder, like, if, I didn't know what I did, you would think just the organic regular version would be cheaper because you're not adding all these extra ingredients into it, the time it takes to add these extra ingredients. So it's kind of interesting to me that it is. And I wonder if organic prices will eventually drop when vegan alternatives do.
I agree. I think, with the farming side of things, we shouldn't even be growing GMO or, these kind of harmful foods. Corn and soy is among the most contaminated food sources. So if you're ever going to eat those kind of foods, it's always important to look for that USDA organic label. But yeah, I mean, that's where the cost will eventually lower when everybody gets onto the same track of not processing these kind of foods to begin with. So what do you think, Lena?
No, I agree completely with everything you guys said. I mean, the just having the access to everything that is just so chemically free and it doesn't have all these GMOs and all these things are so important. And the most important thing is education, educating these people on how to look for these items, how to clean these items, and then ensuring that they have access to them, financial access to them is just so critically important to ensure that everybody has an overall healthy lifestyle opportunity to carry not only for themselves, but their families.
Agree. Yeah, I think like I think Kimberly was saying a few weeks ago on one of these live discussions that Europe, they have so many like restrictions. They don't even source many of the foods that we have, and the like Wheaties. I think there was a release that there's like heavy metals found in there, and so all of these kind of foods that are processed from wherever and then turned into a box of cereal, definitely not nutritious. So I think, things will become more affordable too when we have a hyper focus on what matters to produce in terms of the quality foods and the equality of providing organic options at a reasonable rate. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just when you said that about the food additives in Europe, it just really makes me think, like, why won't the FDA ban these substances when they're banned in the European Union? The European Union banned them. Many other countries have certain additives banned, like Red 40, Yellow 5, Yellow 6. It's just crazy to me. It's like, why won't they ban them? Why aren't, like this year, public health has become very serious with the pandemic, and everyone's trying to figure out ways to, stop the pandemic, stop the spread of infectious diseases. But why aren't we focused on preventing chronic, non-communicable diseases? So I really hope the FDA starts taking this more seriously and starts evaluating food additives that are poisoning us.
And what we also don't realize, go ahead, Dean, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'll try to be quick. Oftentimes our problem is special interest groups, the FDA, the USDA, and the AMA and whatnot. These are politically driven groups, and depending on where the money's coming from, that's where things happen. So that's why good things don't get approved and bad things do still be approved. So it's all politics. It's bad.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you see a lot of these substances and all these additives, even in baby products, baby food products. And if you're not educated, especially if you're a new mother, a new parent, it's really difficult to navigate how you control that, because unfortunately, what we don't realize is we really are subject to these things and exposed to these things early on in the foods that we eat. So I hope change is coming around the corner.
Yeah, me too. Question number 2, is plant-based meat more cost-effective than traditional meat? Technically, yes. Currently, traditional meat is more effective due to supply and demand. However, as plant-based competitors have grown and prices drop, it will become more cost-effective. Plant-based meat and other food options do not require the same time, land, and money that animal agriculture needs. Plant-based foods eliminate the need for raising, transporting, feeding, and ultimately slaughtering animals, minimizing cost production greatly.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting when you think about it, because as of right now, most vegan meats, plant-based meats, or vegan substitutions are priced higher, but it doesn't take the same amount of time to produce these substances, which I think is very interesting. And like Dean mentioned, once the industry really ramps up, I think, it definitely will drop. And then all the other competitors are going to be like, dang, should I just do this plant-based meat? Because it's so much quicker. You don't have to pay for land. And on top of that, the environmental benefits that come from not raising and slaughtering animals, the reduced greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, which is caused by all this animal agriculture. So yeah, I think it definitely will become more cost effective, and it'll really make different companies really want to put out plant-based options.
We can only hope that everything you're saying is right there. This has gone on long enough that the vegan producers and the companies that are trying to improve the conditions of animals and provide more nutritious things for people to consume are being pigeonholed and being pushed into only certain supermarkets, and their economies of scale are so that they have to keep everything priced so high that the people of below middle class income cannot even buy this stuff. It's terrible. I mean, I've known of people that can't walk into a Whole Foods. So I mean, we go there, but we don't live near one now. But we had a Whole Foods where we used to live in Chicago, and we went there all the time. But we could afford to go there. But some people are like, "Oh, I can't shop there. I go to Aldi. I go wherever, and I just get what I can get." So I hate to hear that. Really, you have to have options.
I agree. Wow. Like the Aldi, I think, is another store chain that you can go in there and everything is like 99-cent store. But it is so like some of the stuff they had was of organic nature, but all of it's like processed. Like there's like tiny little area of like produce and stuff. So I was just like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, it appeals to a certain economic. Some smart shoppers, they go in there, they grab a few things, and they go on to another store and grab other things and so on. But Whole Foods, you get everything you want, but you have to spend two or three times as much to get out of there. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lena?
My biggest concern is really just like what Dean was saying, was just accessibility. I mean, not only just financial accessibility, but being able to live in an area where you have the opportunity to shop at a Whole Foods or a Sprouts or someplace where you can get these organic items and these items that are good for your long-term health for you and your family. So I think that's a really big issue as well in terms of not just the industry, but are we providing that accessibility to the populations and communities that we live in?
True. We have a store here now. We're in Rockford. It's called Choices, and they have everything. So we do good there with these type of products, thankfully, because there's no Whole Foods here.
Yeah, we don't have a Whole Foods like nearby either. When we travel over by LA, there's one, but we have Clark's and Sprouts here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those sound good too.
Clark's is amazing. It's like the Blue Zone's food store. They have like, well, I didn't even know we were shopping at a Blue Zone's store until I was in Virginia. Like, we live in California, and I'm all the way over in Virginia, and I go to this like little celebrity cafe vegan restaurant, and it was amazing. They had all these books, all these movies, like the documentaries, and I saw a big book. It said the Blue Zones, and I'm like, what is that? And then just looking at it and learning that there's 5 Blue Zones in the world. There's only one in the United States, and that's in Loma Linda, California. And I'm like, that's where we go shopping. So, yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely wild. But, the concepts in that is of organic nature. And I really think it's not only making it fair cost, but that could be easily done if everybody gets on board and stops producing crap.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, food brands definitely need to be held accountable for these substances that they're putting in our food. It's just crazy to me. I just feel like we as the people really need to start shifting what we buy. I know it's hard if you can't afford the organic, better options, but even just putting companies on blast on social media needs to start being done, just so companies stop making these products like you were mentioning before. McDonald's, for example, has total different ingredients in their fries in Europe versus the fries they sell in the United States. Like, why? There's like about maybe, let's say 5 or 6, 7 in the Europe ingredients compared to like 10, 20 in the United States ingredients.
Yep.
So, just making people more aware of these differences might open up their eyes and be like, wow, like why do other countries have McDonald's fries with different ingredients or Kraft mac and cheese with total different ingredients?
Yep.
So it's just really crazy, and I just think people need to be more aware about it, because before I started doing research, I had no clue.
Yeah, I agree with Kimberly. I think if people really educate themselves and understand the differences and what they're putting in their bodies here compared to what other people are putting in their bodies elsewhere, I think that alone, that education and people voicing their concerns will help put pressure and put these companies accountable for the ingredients that they're actually serving to us. So I think you have to kind of work your way up that chain in order to make sure that these companies are held accountable.
Question number 3. When will prices in vegan food drop? The tipping point seems to be coming sooner than later. There has been a flurry of activity reflecting new production capacity among the existing plant-based meat companies. New competitors with massive resource have been involved. Once plant-based meat achieves sufficient market penetration to tap into these emerging opportunities to optimize raw materials and make production more efficient, the industry will enter a bright new era of accessibility and affordability that will benefit both consumers and producers.
It's very encouraging to hear that the tipping point may be coming sooner than later. I think that would be amazing if vegan food prices can drop. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. When I was doing research on Stop and Shop, just searching through vegan prices compared to traditional prices, there were a couple options that were comparable. I didn't write it in on the slide. I just want to mention it to you guys. The Hellmann's had a vegan mayonnaise that was even cheaper than the real mayonnaise of Hellmann's. So I was like, okay, wow, we're getting there. There are some major differences in some brands, but some brands are really lowering those prices. So I do think sooner than later, the vegan food prices will drop, especially as so many consumers just want to eat organic and fresh. So I think it's coming soon.
Things gradually change, and so we're seeing those changes happen. How fast are they going to happen? In terms of the organic market being more in its place instead of bringing all of these inorganic brands. And I do know, though, with us having Assuaged, it's very expensive running a brand with the technology and all that. So when you're bringing products into the mix of it, it's so hard to make those profits so you could sustain and make the investments that you need to make. I mean, there's so many moving parts in that. So I do have understanding of that. But then there needs to be more funding available. And if the government could support the farmers even by, incentivizing them by turning into a mushroom farm, like going from, chickens or pig farming. And, there have been farmers out there that switched to, soy crops or mushroom crops, and already out there. It's happening. People are inspired to change their ways after becoming educated. So how fast can we get everyone else on board, and why do we keep doing what we're doing?
Sounds good.
What do you think? I'll put you on the spot.
You always put me on the spot. No, I'm just kidding. So you know how I feel about it, that I feel like it's a unjust business environment. It affects the businesses that are trying to get in the market, and also affects those consumers that don't have access to it, which it kind of like contributes to the overall disparity out there in socioeconomic situations where you combine the fact that they can't get health care, and then you combine it with they can't get healthy food, and they don't have access to automobiles. And so these people are already being pigeonholed in different ways. They're forced to, maybe live in neighborhoods that are less desirable, and now they can't eat properly. How about if, well, maybe he can't afford a car, or she can't afford a car, but maybe they can eat well. And if that's all for some people, that's still better than the situation for some people already is. So let's open up a Whole Foods in some, more minority neighborhoods, lower income, and price that stuff so people can buy it and produce stuff that people can afford.
Yes, definitely. I support that, Dean. Let's get these organizations, let's get these big food suppliers, big food chains in these food deserts that we see in underserved communities, and have it accessible, and maybe find a way for programs like even WIC, for example, to be on board and provide financial assistance to these places that they could go and shop and then buy organic things for them and their families. I think that's a great way to get people involved and for them to have access to these things.
Yeah. I heard, not to interrupt you, but I heard recently that Costco accepts WIC now, so that's a good step in the right direction.
Oh, that's wonderful! I didn't hear that.
But the problem is, can they afford the Costco membership to even get in? And then, you know what I mean? And then can they? Costco's are not cheap because you have to buy in bigger quantities. So, you know, it could be a catch-22, but at least they can use it when they can for certain things. So
I am so excited that you guys are bringing this up, because that's exactly why there's a Costco, why there's a Sam's Club, because there are people that like to go out there and buy in bulk and get in bargain, and that's exactly what we do. We go and buy in bulk and we bargain. You know, sometimes I can get the balsamic vinegar cheaper at Vaughn's. I'll go to Sprouts and I'll get the olives are cheaper there. I'll go to Clark's and the maple syrup is cheaper there. So, and then there's things that I could get in the store, but I just order those online because the price is cheaper. I always write into the companies. I ask for promo codes. So, you know, when we're talking about, you know, bulk foods there too, it would seem a lot less damage financially when you make that initial investment. Like I always say, making a down payment on the car, you're kind of essentially doing that with these foods and getting onto a habitual spending, you know, budgeting for your food cost and who you can feed under that budget. I mean, and then, you know, a whole foods plant-based diet, it's not always feasible given time. But then, you know, if you don't treat yourself to healthy foods, you won't have much time. So
yeah, Costco does pretty good with organic, non-GMO, but not so great as far as vegan products. There's some, but not so many. But they do have a great produce area, and I think there's some gluten-free options for bread and whatnot. So you can knock that out there, and then. But yeah, as far as having a bunch of vegan products, no, not really. But I'm sure that they're working on that. I'm sure they are somehow. Time to change up again. Question number 4. What about vegan food prices in restaurants or bakeries? Restaurants and bakeries most often price vegan alternatives at higher prices than the traditional. From ice creams to cake to brownies or cookies, the vegan alternative is priced higher.
yeah, when you go to restaurants, it's true. Like Cafe Gratitude, I love it. Like you go there and, you know, they ask you what you're grateful for today, and it's like a really hippie kind of trendy restaurant, but it's like $18, $20 a plate. And I love food art. Don't get me wrong. My husband's a chef. I get food art all day. And it's amazing. But then when you're going into a vegan restaurant, I think this whole food art thing has been taken to a scale that's just kind of, do you want to eat and socialize and have an out dining experience, or do you want to do the same and still be hungry? I just feel like they don't put enough food on the plate. I'm looking at this pretty little art and it's like half of a pancake. I don't know.
I definitely feel you. Even at like bakeries and stuff, you see cookies, brownies. The vegan options always priced just a little higher. Even ice creams, you could see it in the grocery store. You know, they are just priced higher most often. You'd get lucky if it's the same price or cheaper, honestly.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Kimberly said, that is the case with just about everything. And, you know, maybe, you know, bringing in economies of scale, once again, from an economic standpoint, the longer time that we go through, the more legislation that's passed, and the more the special interest groups are pushed back, and the more players that get into the market, maybe we'll push the prices down, kind of like hybrid cars were once too expensive for most people. as opposed to regular cars, and now hybrid cars cost not much different than regular cars in many cases. An electric car, that's a different story, but you can get a hybrid now for pretty close to what you pay for a regular car, and it's it's a good choice for the environment. But that wasn't always the case. So comparing cars to food in that case.
No, that's a great one, Dean. They actually talk about that at the retreats. How my husband really big into cars. He only puts premium gas in there, and he only uses premium oil, like the best.
Wow.
And every time he gets his oil changed or he puts gas in the car, it's always the best, and the car never has problems. So think about that when it comes to the foods that you're putting in your body.
True.
Good point.
It's a good analogy.
Thank you. I'm a car guy too, so that kind of came easily to me.
That's so funny. What do you think, Lena, love?
I agree. It's usually always overpriced. And the thing that's so disappointing is sometimes I have friends who are like, I'm interested in this lifestyle, I'm interested in exploring it, but like it's already expensive to go out. I mean, imagine a family of 4. I mean, to just go out, and we're not talking eating vegan, it's already expensive. And so if you're adopting that vegan lifestyle and things are already higher, it makes it that much more challenging for people to really adopt it or maintain it and whatnot. So I'm hoping that these things will go down and more cafes and restaurants will be more open to adopting something that is more financially friendly to their customers. But I'm happy that, it was pointed out earlier that even some mayonnaise options are cheaper than regular. So it seems like the industry is slowly catching up, but we're not quite there yet.
I love that. We lived in Vegas for the first 3 years of our marriage. And so sometimes I'll go out there. We have business events and meetings. And so there's this restaurant called Vegan Violetta's, and the owner, her name is Cindy. Friends with her on Facebook, and it's just amazing. You can get a whole huge thing of mac and cheese vegan. It's all vegan. It's all organic, and it's like $6 for this big bowl of mac and cheese, and then you could get a big side of mashed potato for like $2. There's like a fake chicken teriyaki bowl. I think it's like $12. So, and that's like my jam, like that. So if she's doing it, and she's a celebrity, she's a poker player. So a celebrity opened up this amazing restaurant. Now it's more of a cafe setting. I do notice like the really extravagant, like Cafe of Gratitude's a little bit beyond the cafe setting, but Sage Restaurant, that's really good. It's like a outdoor, like sit down kind of restaurant, but the food costs are, the cost on the menu is way higher than vegan Violetta's. I don't think I've seen any restaurant have low prices like that. And we wish we were in Vegas right now, huh?
Yes.
Whatever goes to Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
No, that's not true.
Gotcha there.
It was a trip living out there. I mean, there's so many options. That's the cool thing about Vegas. Is it's a high crime rate, which really turned us off. I couldn't stand living there. Like the energy, it's just very transient. People come and go. It's really hard to make friends. And I'm like a really social person. So
yeah.
I love, the options, the availability. There's a group on Facebook, vegan restaurants in Vegas. And they have groups for like every state. And some like of the major cities like Sacramento and so forth. But anyways, in this Vegas group, there's all these restaurants, including, all these different like Asian cuisine. And it just seems so much more available. Yet we live in a blue zone, and I could maybe count 4 restaurants. Like we don't have any on the mountain here at all. So we're in a food desert for sure where we live.
Yeah, that's tough. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
This made me
think. Involves more planning in that case. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, your discussion made me think, like, where are all the vegan, like, there's not too many fully vegan restaurants near me that I know of. But where are the vegan fast food restaurants? Like, I always think about that sometimes. I'm like, why has no one done that yet? Like, imagine a vegan fast food chain restaurant. Because some people just don't want to go to a restaurant. They just want to drive through. And I'm just kind of wondering why no one has been doing that. I feel like that would be a hit if you could come up with a great menu that you could quickly, produce the food. I'm waiting on that. I know it's going to come out sooner or later, and I'm going to kick myself for not starting it myself.
It's so funny. Yeah, and there is actually one down the hill from us. I forget what it's called. It's it's a fast food joint, but again, my thing is I miss fast food. I love Taco Bell. I mean, God, I haven't had Taco Bell for like 5 years. And if I had the Crunch Wrap right now, it would probably kill me. I mean, because once you go healthy, you just cannot go back eating those kind of foods. And so I think, the fast food nature is great, especially if they can just kind of, like you were saying about McDonald's earlier, there's like 19 ingredients in their French fries, and they're all like synthetic. And that's crazy that you're eating that. And then what's going to come out of it? So.
Terrible.
Agreed.
All right. So, can you eat vegan on a budget? This is a good slide for me to cover. Yes. Despite processed vegan specialty food being priced higher than the traditional, one can still shop on a budget when being vegan. Buying raw materials and cooking meals from scratch will greatly reduce one's bill at the grocery store. In fact, if one sticks to buying raw ingredients only, a vegan can spend less compared to non-vegans. And I definitely want to ring in on this because my husband and we have been vegan for about 5 years now. And when we started out, we didn't go vegan for the animals. We really didn't know. We had to watch the documentaries. We were like, that's disgusting. I mean, they throw live chicks in grinders and turn them into hot dogs. I mean, that's just horrible. But with all of that, buying raw food, sticking to the outer ring, if you're going to buy processed foods that you get in the middle of the store, buy them online. It will be cheaper. Ask for promo codes. Get on the chat. Email them. Wait. Don't rush into a buying decision. That's not how you make investments. You have to kind of take a little bit of time to find where you can get the best buys. But definitely, having those raw materials. We go to Food to Live, Amazon. We buy spices. We get a pound of that spice. And so instead of getting those little jars that are $4 a jar, you're getting an actual pound. And I think lasting like 8 months to a year, that entire pound of spice. We just bought cumin recently, and I don't know the last time we bought cumin. So that's just kind of like an example that you're making these investments and it lasts longer. It's more sustainable. There's more money going in your pocket. And we know this because we were spending about $1,800 a month on going out to eat. I remember every other day I'd go to the Mexican restaurant and I would get $60 worth of takeout food just for me and my husband. The same for the Thai house restaurant we went to. Drunken Noodle. Oh, my favorite. I haven't had that since we've gone vegan either, and that was like my favorite thing in the world. But yeah, I mean, that costs like $80 probably going there, and it's like a buffet. It's like, I want that, I want this, I want that. And then, buying cigarettes twice a week when I was smoking, alcohol, all the junk foods, those all add up. If you just stick with eating the healthiest foods that you could find and avoiding those box processed foods that have preservatives, you're going to spend less money. But at first, your body needs to adjust because when you're going healthy and you're eating these whole foods, your body's going to adjust from what you were eating before to the now, and then you'll start seeing results, which don't happen immediately. I mean, I didn't start looking good until like a year and a half into the journey. My skin was horrible. I was aging. I was sick. So it's definitely an investment for the long term and really just sticking with those raw foods. We're spending like, I don't know, $700 a month now. We went that drastically from what we were spending, and we just became more mindful, and now we bargain shop, and that includes online.
I think you hit on all of that, Cynthia. That was great. Everything you said, I agree.
Beauty queen. What do you think, Lena?
I was going to say there's also lots of really, really great like online resources such as blogs and that people post about like how to purchase things, where to purchase things, what kind of recipes exist that will help you on a budget. So all those are very, very friendly, especially for people just looking into adopting this lifestyle.
Yeah, this is the wave of the future, so hopefully things keep going that way in a positive direction. So can only look forward to it. You know, we're trying to eat as much non-GMO, and we're not 100% vegan here, but we do utilize a lot of vegan products. And we've cut out a lot of meat, but we do eat some organic meat. But that's just our preference. I still try to order vegan at certain restaurants that offer vegan options. I oftentimes do order the vegan options. I love Impossible Burgers, and Beyond Burgers are good too. So I tend to go for those quickly if there's a choice in the restaurant. So that's kind of the way we're going. We may end up 100% vegan at some point. We're animal rights people in this house, so we try to minimize the meat, even though we do eat very little.
I love that. That's so inspiring. Like, I know a lot of the students on our team have converted to veganism, and that's, you know, by the way, we just educate and we empower people to make those steps to be healthier so they can make it to this transition.
Right.
And then, you know, really get into a new way of living. And it feels so good because you know you're being ethical. And I remember when we first went vegan, I'm like sitting here and I'm like, there's gelatin in here. This is not vegan, babe. It says vegan. And I'm like, you know, I was like kind of like thinking, oh my gosh, I did that, you know, but then I just started learning, okay, I really need to read the labels. And the other day I was looking because I came across this article, and there's this one preservative or something, magnesium stearate or something. It's a filler they put in a lot of supplements. And I'm just like going to the cupboard, making sure we don't have. I found one supplement because I'm an herbal queen. I have herbs everywhere. Like, you know, even when we go to the events and we're traveling, I got a big purse and it has herbs in it. I mean, I got herbs for everybody. I share them with everybody too. And my little stones. I got my like little selenite, and I don't know, but that's all woo woo.
You have your chakra stones.
Yeah, I got some wands, and I got like lots of wands. They're not here accessible right now. I don't know, but
Awesome.
yeah, I do saging too. But you know, it makes you feel better. Like when you're eating these healthy foods, you're able to tap into that spirituality, and we don't have any problems. We don't fight. I don't have any drama besides where, you know, when it happens, it's inevitable. But it's not like my immediate drama. It's not my immediate problems. And I swear to goodness, when we went vegan, that all started happening. Life just started making sense. I think there's so many imbalances when you're fueling your body with contaminants. So
yeah, that's so true. You are what you eat. That's so true. Strike a pose.
I was doing the box face, you know. All right. What could be done to kickstart a drop in vegan food prices? Lawmakers can increase the production capacity of plant-based industries through incentives, which could be in the form of investments and funding by stakeholders. Government incentives can help make healthy food affordable and accessible for everyone. Upscaling requires costly equipment, large-scale transactions, and better marketing. Yet, as the size of the industry increases, so does its production capacity, resulting in decreased cost for all parties involved. That is where we're headed at with our team of students. We have our vegan food policy proposal I mean, I can't say how many hours of research went into that in terms of the problems that we've identified, the solutions we want to bring about. And this is definitely honing in on where we're going with that. We are outreaching, we are contacting legislators. We're really trying to do our part to bring about more equality and fairness among people who want to be vegan and who want to be able to afford these food costs. But that is also a mindset thing too. So, not only going after it on the policy side of things and lowering the cost, I mean, from the farming. It needs to start with the farmer and then lowering the cost there and then traveling through the journey, everything's going to be less. There's a huge demand on these products, and there's more of the harmful products. A lot of people are living off of Cheetos and Wonder Bread. Oh my gosh, the things about that Wonder Bread. I don't. It's hot ramen. I do love top ramen. I actually get a vegan ramen noodles, and so there's definitely alternatives out there that are healthier, but you're gonna pay for it where we're at with it right now. So.
Yeah, I think you hit on most of that, and a lot of this information did come from our policy proposal, so I'm very excited to get that out there and send that over to lawmakers, and hopefully we can really make a change and bring more awareness to this public health issue.
I think we should try to find out, and we may already know this, which legislators are also pursuing a vegan diet themselves. That way they can kind of feel themselves in the game. And if they're not vegan eaters necessarily, maybe they're involved somehow in the animal rights movement, pursuing legislation to bring more humane treatment of animals on factory farms and whatnot. They would probably be very sympathetic to promoting vegan food alternatives for that same reason, for a non-cruelty reason.
Yeah, legislation and representation, I think, is where it could start. I think it's a great start. I think in our policy proposal, a lot of students put in, like Cynthia said, a ton of time and effort in finding out what the issues are, how we can resolve these issues, who can be a part of it. And legislation really is a big start to that. So I'm hoping to see some change, and I think that we will. And I think that this will no longer be a question. I think it'll be just one day vegan will be kind of the opportunities to purchase it and to eat it will be the norm. And it won't be like how we see it today, especially in our restaurants, our cafes, our grocery stores. So I think the legislation will go a long way, but that's definitely where we need to start.
Yeah, I agree with all of you. It's all about money too. I know here on the mountain, organic, yeah, right, or vegan, go to the local Jensen's. But I do know us going shopping for fruits and vegetables, they do spoil fast. The organic forms compared to the GMO forms, you can leave like a tomato in the fridge for, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. But, if it's organic, it might last 3 to 5 days. So that's something definitely to consider in the cost on what's happening over there. So great. Our bottom line, the food that you eat matters. Time to change up. The plant-based food industry is growing at a greater pace than it has ever been in history. However, there are barriers that are preventing this growth from accelerating to its fullest potential, and thus negatively impacting opportunities for communities to fully embrace a plant-based diet. The final recommendation for the stakeholders listening would be to create a more even playing field for the plant-based food industry through the means of funding, investment in innovative research, legislature, and upscaling that would benefit plant-based food manufacturers. Great point. That's exactly something that's tied into our proposal as well. The team has identified stakeholders and yeah, we're on the line to attack to see where we can make the greatest impact.
We're coming for you guys.
That's so funny.
Excited to see the growth, that's for sure.
For sure.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone who joined in on the call today. I would really like to thank our students, Kimberly, Dean, and Lena for being here today. We do have a campaign, Stop the Hate with Delta 8, so we would be delighted to share our video. And if you have any requests or questions about this particular presentation or any others, please chime in and leave comments. We do check them and we do respond.
Stop the hate, stop it. It's Delta 8, look at us. Yeah, see us high, see us in the sky. Ooh, we still flying, let's go.
Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Lean to the side and rock it. Be your highest, who we poppin'. Hit the site, go do some shopping. CBD got plenty options. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. I love my gummies. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Cause they so yummy.
Yummy gummies, tag a friend, tag a lover, tag a Delta 8, come discover. Yummy, make it pop, feels so good, I'm on top. Taste so good, you can't compare. Vegan gummies, Delta 8, premium ingredients. Delta 8, vegan gummies, taste so good, you can't compare. I don't even wanna share, no. Delta 8 gummies, we the flyest, bunny. You can be your best, Delta. You can be your best.
Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Lean to the side and rock it. Be your highest, who we poppin'. Hit the site, go do some shopping. CBD got plenty options. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. I love my gummies. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Cause they so yummy. Be your healthiest, so you can live longer. Keep on fighting every day with Delta 8. You getting stronger. We believe in you, but you gotta believe in yourself. Don't try to do it all alone. Be your highest is here to help. We got your back, got your front, rocking side to side. Gummies help you relax. Now you catching vibes. It's for all the vets all across the globe. We feel your pain. Trust us when we say we know. Let's go. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Lean to the side and rock it. Be your highest, who we poppin'. Hit the site, go do some shopping. CBD got plenty options. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. I love my gummies. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Cause they so yummy.
You can be your best, Delta. You can be your best, ace. You can be your best version of yourself, Delta 8. You can be your best, Delta. You can be your best, 8. You can be your best version of yourself.
Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Lean to the side and rock it. Be your highest, who we poppin'. Hit the site, go do some shopping. CBD got plenty options. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. I love my gummies. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Cause they so yummy.
Moving on to the conclusion. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week with another compelling topic. Yay!
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.